And being rather big, I can't put them online because they are too big, are larger than a page. So in this case, what I want to do with this banner, I want to scale them down and I want to export them for the internet. So if I say it like this, you might think, okay, you need only two things while you're making an action. You just have to scale it down, export it to the internet. However, you will see that there is more than one action that you have to do for something like this. For example, if you are looking at this file, you will notice that on top here, it tells you that the file is currently set in CMYK mode, which normally is used for print, not for web. Whereas the other picture is RGB. And can you see on top here? Let me take my favorite tool here. There you go. This one is RGB, and this other is CMYK. So in order to make sure that the look of the two banners will be the same, one of the things that I have to do is to convert the color profile to the actual RGB. However, when you export as save for web and devices in Photoshop, it automatically converts to RGB, even if the file is CMYK. Something that I can't avoid to do, though, is to flatten the layers. In particular, when you are scaling down in Photoshop, when you're scaling down effects such as drop shadow, layer styles like drop shadow or outer glow, when you scale it down, it might maintain the absolute value. For example, you have set a shadow for a big picture and you want to see a little bit of shadow behind. If the picture is very big, chances are that you are setting the size of the shadow to 20 pixels. But when you scale it down for a banner, which is 500 pixels, 20 pixels is a lot, and will retain the absolute value. So in order to make sure that what you have prepared in the project file, the PSD file, large format, is exactly what you see in the small file that you put online, it's always a good idea to to flatten the layers. So I don't want to talk too much about how to prepare it. I want to start working with the action. If you don't know where is the action panel, just go to Window, and inside you will add actions. Here we go. You see that by default there are already a few actions within a folder which is called default actions. Vignette, frame channel, wood frame, cast shadow. You can have fun playing with them at home. Honestly, I don't really believe these ones are crucial for a work environment or for industry requirement. So the first thing that I've done on my computer, that today I've removed just for the sake of the presentation, is to fold up this folder and create another folder from the bottom here, and I assign to this folder my name. And these are my custom actions. This folder is empty, so I have nothing inside. I have to start populating this folder with the new action. So in order to make sure that the new action is saved directly in that folder, I'm going to click it first. I'm going to make sure that it's blue. Once it's blue, I can click underneath here in the corner where it says create new action. Can everybody see? Yes. Good. So click on it, and now I have to assign a unique name. When I do this kind of operation, when I want to, for example, to scale down a picture and save it on the desktop, I will call this one web dash and the number of pixels that I will set. For example, 500. This one helps me to remember in future, in case I have to apply it again, the same action, that this is meant to save a picture for the web at 500 pixels. And then I press record. This one works exactly like a video recorder. The moment you press record, everything you do with a click will be captured. Unfortunately, sometimes some of the actions are captured even though you don't want them to be captured. So for example, if now I were to click one of the layers that I have there, for example, I were to click the layer 5, in the action, it will record select layer 5. So if the next document doesn't have a layer 5, then the action will interrupt. It will return you an error. So you've got to make sure that all the layers are named in the same way. I will show you later a little trick that helps you to make sure that the top layer is always top layer. Now, The first thing that I mentioned to do will be to go to layer, and then all the way down here you got flatten image. When you click flatten image, all the layer become one. There you go. Now another thing that I normally do when I send a banner for online, after I merge everything, I go to check out the color profile. And to do so, I go to edit, and I go all the way down here where it says assign profile. And when I click assign profile, it asks me which color profile do you want to apply. This one starts from CMYK. So you see, I found already my first problem here. And my first problem is that if I choose assign profile when I'm in a CMYK file and I click the list of available profiles, the priority is given to CMYK profile. Problem number one. This one will apply, if I commit now, it will apply only to files that are CMYK. So at this stage, I will just press escape, escape, esc, and I stop my action. When I stop my action, then I go to edit and I go to convert to profile. This one will work only for pictures that are CMYK. So if I want this one to be part of my action, to restart the recording at any point in time, all I need to do is to click this button down here, which is the record or begin recording action. So let me click on it now, and then I go back to edit, and then down to convert to profile, and from here I'm going to choose one of the profile from the available profile. For web, it might be a good option, Adobe RGB 1998, although not all the monitor can fully display the range of colors because it's too big. I will choose Adobe RGB, and I will press OK. There you go. I have converted my picture from CMYK to RGB. Now the next action that I want to do is to resize my picture down. This is very important, very useful. You can take a look at this one. When you go to image, inside you will have image size. I'm pretty sure you have all used this window before. You might be familiar with this one, but there is something that you might not be familiar with, or you might or might not, which is at the bottom of the window here. You see, in fact, you have a list of options that you can choose, among which you have one that says bicubic, sharper, best for reduction. Which means that in this case I want to make my picture smaller, hence that's the one that I have to go for. I'm going to choose bicubic, sharper, and I set my size to 500 pixels. And then I press OK. There you go. Don't worry, it won't be that small. It's just that now I'm displaying it at only 16% of the size. So if I do some Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, this will be 100%. Notice that my Control plus, Control plus, Control plus are not recorded in the action list. Now, another trick that you might want to consider when you want to put a file online is to go to filter and then go down to sharpen and unsharp mask. If someone, has anybody done before traditional photography, analogic photography, darkroom? Anybody? Darkroom? So it might make sense to you the concept of unsharpen mask. A sharpen mask is going to make the details of your picture more sharp. Let's see how it works. When you click on it, it opens a window here that has 3 values. By right, you should not change the last one. Someone might say, what if I have imperfection and I want to decrease the tolerance on the imperfection? Then it means that you are not ready to apply this filter, because this filter should be the very last thing you apply to your picture. I assume, for example, that if you have done a nice makeup, photo retouch or digital makeup to a model, you have already removed all the pores, the wrinkles, the pimples, and so on and so forth. So for this one, there is no use. This one is only when you don't want to emphasize that kind of details. Now, there is a mathematical formula for this one that I will not bother you with, but if you want to export your picture for the internet, the radius should be 0.3. For the amount, that is totally up to you. Normally I try not to go above 120. If you are exporting picture for the web, you might want to consider these two values, 120, 0.3. Then you press OK. Here we go. So we have flattened the image, converted to profile, changed the image size, unsharp mask. Now we are ready to export the picture. To export the picture, all we need to do is to go to File, and then Save for Web and Devices. Now, when I click Save for Web and Devices, now my favorite interface for this one is not original, is not optimized, but is 2-up. So I see how it was before, and now it's going to be when I put it online. And then I can test from the top right. I can choose which format I do want. Now, to cut the long story short, JPEG is for pictures. And if it's not a picture, it's for gradients. For all the rest, it's going to be PNG. I'm getting very extreme on this one. Yeah? I'm cutting out of my workflow GIF. I'm keeping PNG. So PNG, until a few years ago, it was not really compatible with Internet Explorer. Now it's fully compatible. There is really little use for GIF files, unless you want to do one of those funny animated GIF. Other than that, PNG. Now in this case, it's a bit tricky, because I have both some gradient and some design. Now when I have a situation like this, I normally give priority to the one that takes the biggest part of the picture. For example, if I export this one as JPEG, you see the background here is all white. Also here is all white. If I export this one as a JPEG, each of these pixels will carry a detail, will carry an information. Whereas if I save it as a PNG, it will only save a certain number of colors. So for this pixel, 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 and so on and so forth, it will be only one information, that color. Hence I go straight for PNG 8. It happened that PNG nowadays is always, 95% of the time is smaller than GIF. So there is really no reason now to use GIF anymore. So I save it as a PNG. These kind of problems. Sometimes, not 100% of the times. So in order to play safe, what I do normally, I don't change the file name until later on, and then I save on the desktop. So if I don't change the file name and I save on the desktop, I don't have surprises later on. The file is never overwritten, and there are no issues of replacing the files. And once I'm happy, I just press save. Oh, another thing. Now, the image has been already saved on my desktop. However, when I play the action again, I will end up, let's say I have 20 banners to save with 20 banners all open. If I have already saved the action, I don't need to keep these open anymore. So I can close it. And to close it, I just go to File, Close, and when it prompts me, what do you want to do with this picture? Do you want to save? Guess what I'm gonna say? No. We don't save, no. We don't save because